All right, we are live. Good morning, Linda.
Hey, good morning, Christy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Good. Okay. Good morning to everyone who's joining us live and to everyone who is watching the replay later. Welcome. We are so glad you're here. So, this is day 4 of our week of self love and self care. And today we thought we would start with just some breathing. So I'm going to invite you guys to find a comfortable place to sit. If you are at home on this Saturday morning, maybe make sure your family knows that you are going to be unavailable for about 30 minutes here so that you can really focus in and gift yourself this time of self love and self care with us. So set aside any distractions, close any other windows, or put your phone aside, or turn off notifications, or do whatever you need to do so that you can really be present, be here now with us for this next 25, 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you want to lead us through a breathing exercise?
Sure, I would love to. So, we're going to start with breathing because we've recently discussed breathing, and it's just a great way to get centered, a great way to clear your thoughts, get present, calm your body. So, if you watched our breathing conversation a couple days ago, there's many, many ways to breathe. So I'm just randomly sort of picking one, but the intent of this one is to release so that we're clear to go and write because we're going to do some writing afterwards, which maybe you want to, should they grab a, do they know to have a notebook?
Yes, that is a really good point. So take just a minute if you haven't, you guys. We did put an announcement that we were going to be doing some journaling, but if you didn't bring a journal with you, take just a minute now to grab a journal or some paper and a pen or pencil, and we'll be using that here in a little bit.
Yeah, great. So what I'm going to have you do is put one hand on your heart or both hands. We'll just focus on the heart right now. Close your eyes so that, and that's just to take away extra stimulus, right? So your vision isn't being distracted. So you can close your eyes, hands on your heart, and I want you to drop your attention down into your heart, like if you were actually looking in that part of your body. And I just want you to imagine bright white or green light. And I say green because the energy center of the heart is related to the color green. So it can be a white light for you if you like connecting to the white, or the green is actually the energy center. And just bring your attention there and your focus. And then you're going to inhale through your nose, and we're going to do 5 counts in, pause for a second, and exhale for about 7 counts or so. So the exhale will be a little bit longer. And I just want you to, with each exhale, feel your body relax into that release. Okay. And we'll do maybe 5 or 6 rounds. All right. So hands are on your heart, your eyes are closed. Picture whatever light you want to see coming in and out of your chest, and deep breath in through your nose. And then exhale. Again, as you breathe in, ready in, feel and see the light coming into your body, powerful. Hold it. And now on the exhale, completely relax into the chair that you're in. Feel your body relax and sink a little bit deeper. And again, deep breath in. Pause for just a second and powerfully exhale, seeing that exchange coming in and out through your chest and through your heart. And again, deep breath in. And exhale completely out, releasing, relaxing. And here's the last one, okay? In through your nose, hold, and exhale out. Okay, so hopefully that just centered you a little bit more than when we first just started talking and you feel relaxed. And that's going to bring us to what we want to journal today. There's two things that Christy and I thought would be a great place to start. If you've not had a journaling practice or a practice of gratitudes, this will kind of bring both of those together. And gratitudes are a great place to start because when you really are feeling grateful for something, it just changed the biochemistry of your body. So it layers right on top of the actual physiology of breathing. It makes some changes in your brain and it feels really good. So we're going to take a couple minutes. I think, what do you think? Maybe 10? Think of 10 things that you
Sure.
can be grateful for. And, when I do this, and I think probably you do it as well, Christy, like every day, sometimes, depending on what life is bringing me, I struggle to feel gratitude right away. I'm like, what am I grateful for? But you can always just start with like your physical environment. Like if I'm laying in bed, I just go, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this pillow right now. I am so grateful for these covers. I'm so grateful that the curtain's closed and it's nice and dark in here still, or whatever. But I'll start that way so that can start to lead my thoughts in a particular direction. And that's an easy place to start. And then, I'll expand into maybe my family. Like, I'm so grateful my son is doing well in school. I'm so grateful the dogs are not barking right now during this live, right? Just little things, and then expand into bigger things. Now, here's what I do, but do whatever works for you. For a long time, it was like a checklist for me. I'm like, oh, I'm doing my gratitudes. And it was like this intellectual exercise that I checked off, but I wasn't feeling in my body really grateful. I was going, okay, what am I grateful for? What are my gratitudes? Okay, let me get up and get going. So the way that I shifted that was I did my list and then I went back and I read each one individually after I had already thought of it and written it down. Then I would go back and go, oh, I do really have a great place to live that keeps me comfortable. Wow, a lot of people don't have that. Oh my goodness, I'm really grateful that I have that. Like when I stop and reread it, I can get really more present to it. And that was a helpful thing that I did was write them. And you could stop with each one if that's what works for you. I'm just sharing what I did. Christy, do you have a particular way that you do your gratitudes?
Yeah, I do a very, very similar practice. And I think, as Linda said, you guys, one of the keys is feeling the gratitude, not just writing it down to check it off the list, but sitting with that emotion of gratitude. And, one of the things that super simple thing that I am almost always putting on my list is something about my kids and them. Like, my daughter gave me the biggest hug this morning and it just felt so good. Wow, I'm so grateful that she still does that. She's 14 and she still wants to come and ask me, say, Mommy, can I have a hug? And snuggle with me and hug me for just a few minutes. I'm like, that is amazing. And I feel so much joy at remembering that. So allow yourself to feel the emotions of the gratitude and the joy, because we talked about how breath work can change your emotional state, right? And we talked about how mindfulness, being in the now, in the present, can change your emotional state from living in the past or living in the future. And gratitude is another way of doing that very thing, because you cannot be in anxiety or fear or frustration or anger or resentment or any of those lower frequency emotions at the same time that you are in gratitude. They are absolutely incompatible. So I always say that gratitude is the antidote
Yes.
to
Yes.
the emotions, the lower frequency emotions, to the stress. And so after I have my list, I do a very similar process to what Linda described. I make my list in my journal, then I sit with those, I review them, and I feel the gratitude and the joy. And then as I'm going throughout my day, if I find myself getting frustrated at my child about something, or getting stressed or anxious about something I have to do, or something that's going on, or annoyed that my husband didn't take out the trash, or whatever silly little thing it is, I nip those things in the bud and I go back to my gratitude list and I start reviewing that list in my head. And it immediately shifts my emotional state. And it is the antidote to those emotions or those thoughts that are not serving me. Okay. Those negative, stressful thoughts are not serving me, my physical, emotional, or mental wellness.
Right.
And so I shift those with gratitude. And when I already have the list in my journal, it's still in my head. I still remember it because I did it that morning. I can just go back to that place.
Yeah. And, you can choose to focus on what's not working. You can choose to be frustrated all day long. You can choose to be annoyed at every single thing every kid does, but you're choosing that. And we're just suggesting choose something else that's going to feel better, that's going to have you show up in a different way for your family, that's going to teach them a different message, and their memory of you when your kids are grown and they look back, their memory of you will be different than if you choose frustration and annoyance. And I think a lot of times we're so focused on what we have to get done that we forget all of that piece, but it really is a choice. And it may be a choice that at the beginning is a little like it's a little hard to get it going, but once you do, it becomes easier and easier. And then you can just, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to choose this. When you're driving in the car, you can be the person who's like, oh, annoyed with every single other person on the road, or the person who's like, okay, dude, you go. Clearly, you need to get somewhere faster than I do. Go, and just shrug it off. So, how do you want to spend your day? Is really a place to look, because I don't know, I felt like I wanted to say that because several years ago when I first started learning about gratitudes, I had some of those thoughts. I was like, okay, really? But you know what? Nobody knows what I have on my plate today. Nobody knows how hard my job is today. And it took me a while to see and feel and experience the value of it. So I'm just trying to fast track you so you don't take as long as I did.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
love all of that. And um, I know you do a lot of work on stress with your clients, Linda. That's really your big focus. And I do a lot of work with stress with clients as well. I teach a program called Stress to Zen. And this is one of the big pieces of that program that we dive into. And we talk about the fact that our thoughts are what change our physiology and create that stress response in our bodies. That is what triggers, those thoughts are what trigger the cortisol and the adrenaline and all of those stress hormones that then wreak havoc on not just our mental and emotional state, but on our physical health as well. And so if you guys learn to nip those thoughts in the bud and say, nope, I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to wreck my health with those thoughts. Life changing,
Yeah.
life changing work.
Yeah. And the thoughts trigger the emotions, and then the emotions will trigger the next thought of the same type,
Yes.
because your emotions, right? So now you're frustrated. So now the next thing that you think is through the lens of frustration, and you gather more evidence to be frustrated. So So that's another layer of why do I want to bother changing my emotions? Because they are feeding the next thought that's coming, and it's a cycle.
Yep.
So, getting yourself into gratitude is a great way to do that. So, hopefully, while we've been talking, you wrote down, you know, 8, 10 things that you're grateful for. And you can always go back and put your hand on your heart and read them again later today, as often as you want. And sometimes, there's no rules around it. There was a while when I thought I had to have something new every day. You can be grateful for the same cozy bed every morning, and then notice what's new and different, to be grateful for. So there's no rules about it. It's whatever gets you in that state, because the feeling is the most important thing. Not, the thinking changes the feeling, but the feeling is what we really want to shift. So, and that brings us to celebrations, right? So, I don't know about you, Christy, with the people you work with, but I find that a lot of people have trouble celebrating themselves and celebrating things that happen in their life. So let's talk about that, because celebrations, when you do a small, like, oh, whatever it might be, if you're like, oh, I got through the day and I didn't yell at my kids before noon today or something. That's a celebration, right? And that's actually what I didn't do. You maybe want to celebrate what you did do. I made it to noon in a calm manner. I'm going to celebrate that. Why do we bother to do that? Well, when you actually celebrate it and get present to it, just like getting present to gratitude, you actually release dopamine in your brain, and you get like a hit of dopamine, like a win, like a high five. And then your body likes that. We like to have that feeling that dopamine gives us. So now you want to do more of the same, and it will actually encourage you to stick with those behaviors. So that's, I think, something I thought was so interesting to learn about, why celebrating makes a difference. But then I also noticed, I don't know if it's culturally or what, how much women feel kind of like what you said on the first day of this workshop, like cringy about self-love and self-care. There's a cringiness about celebrating, right? And so what I have found with my clients is they'll celebrate sort of like from a distance. Oh, I'm going to celebrate that it's nice weather today, right? That's nothing about me. And sure, you could celebrate that it's a beautiful day out, but I noticed that people had trouble celebrating personally. It could be other things, other people, but when it came to themselves, that was a little bit harder. Have you ever noticed that, Christy?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And one of the things I do with my clients, and you may do the same thing, Linda, every session when we meet, we start with celebrations. We talk about what has gone good, gone well, um, in whether it's in their lives, in their health, in the specific things that we're working on. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but we start by celebrating the good, because every health journey, every life journey goes like this, right? It's a roller coaster. And we can focus on the things that aren't going well, that aren't happening as fast as we want them to. Or we can focus on the progress that we have made. I went an entire week without craving sugar. That deserves a massive high five right there, right? So it can be huge things, it can be small things, but when, as Linda said, when you put yourself in that frame of mind of celebrating yourself, patting yourself on the back, giving yourself that high five and saying, I did awesome, I did well on this, and this is what is happening as a result of the choices that I'm making that I can celebrate. I'm sleeping better, or my skin has cleared up, or I'm having normal bowel movements 2 or 3 times a day. I mean, those are huge, huge things that if we don't take time to note and celebrate, we might miss them and not see those massive signs of the progress that we're making, to keep us encouraged, so that our health journey isn't a straight linear line up. It's like this for
Right.
sure, but the trajectory generally is up, and we can see that when we take time to notice this little things that are changing.
Yes. Yes, because it's so much easier. I think it's just the way the human brain is wired. I think that, whether you want to say it's our ego or whatever, but to protect us, we're wired to look for problems, right? To scan the environment and see where we need protection. So we're looking for what's not working kind of naturally. So we're practicing on learning how to naturally look for what is working. And again, it just feels like a better place to live,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And if this isn't the way you are used to living, it can seem hard. It can
Yeah.
seem like you fail a lot in trying to make these shifts. But I don't want you to look at it as failure. I want you to look at it as I'm practicing this. And the more you practice, the more it becomes a habit and a new way of being. So if you find yourself look, not celebrating, focusing on the things that aren't going well, that's okay. Take note of that and use that as an opportunity to shift your thoughts, right? That's what the whole theme of today's session is your thoughts are so powerful. And choosing, remember we talked about the definition of self-care is choosing the things that serve your wellness, the foods that you put in your mouth, the skincare products that you put on your body, the thoughts that you allow in your mind. Choose the things that are serving your wellness. So it's not that we beat ourselves up for those less helpful thoughts. It's that we note them and we say, okay, yeah, I see that's not serving me. I'm going to shift that.
Yeah. And another thought came to mind as you were saying that, which is if we're going to pay attention to our thoughts, notice when you're self deprecating, or notice if you often say things like, yeah, it's the story of my life, because you're declaring that's the story of your life. And people don't usually say that after a good thing happened, like they get into a fender bender. Yeah, that's the story of my life. Figures, that's what happens to me. Or I used to have very self deprecating humor, which always got a lot of chuckles, right? I would say something self deprecating, and people around me would like, oh, Lindy, like I kind of like I got a little like feedback back. But where did that come from? The self deprecation, even though it was said in jest. Like once I started to notice, I really turned that off. So those are also thoughts that you might just want to consider. Do I do a lot of self-deprecation, or do I do a lot of comments that are in the negative vein, like figures, that's the story of my life, or leave it to me, I always make a mess, or you're talking to a girlfriend and you're like, yeah, I started this diet. We'll see how long that lasts. Like those are the thoughts that you're speaking out loud, and that's creating your reality. So with gratitudes, with celebrations, we're trying to shift the reality that you're living in, and you create it with the thoughts and the words that you say. So you might, I know that was something additional that we didn't talk about, Christy, but it popped into my mind of like, well, if you're noticing your thoughts, let's just throw that on the pile.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the point to all of this, everything we're talking about this week is to notice the choices that you're making. And we don't always think about our thoughts as being conscious choices, but they are.
Mm,
They can be conscious choices, right? We can allow just unconscious thoughts to occur, or we can be very conscious and very intentional in choosing our thoughts and choosing the things that serve us.
absolutely. Yep. So hopefully you wrote several things down that you're grateful for. Hopefully you also wrote down some things to celebrate, and just notice your body's reaction. Did you get a little tight in your stomach, like, ugh, I don't want to do this? Or did you, was your go-to like, I don't know, I can't think of something. Like just notice your physical body reaction and your initial response in your head, how much you resisted it. because that's all very telling too. And then we invite you to just continue. We wanted to really do something that would only take a few minutes that you could put into your day. So we've talked a lot and we still haven't completed a 30 minutes. So if you took out all our talking and you just did the exercises, you could do that in 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. And if you have just been listening and haven't done this practice with us, I would really encourage you to take 5 minutes, set a timer on your phone, turn on some music if you want to, take 5 minutes and just write as many things as you can think of that you're grateful for. And then, as Linda described, go back through your list and sit with those things and feel them.
Yeah.
And if you take 5 minutes every morning to do this practice, um, and then utilize this as a tool for shifting your thoughts and your emotional state throughout the day. So powerful, you guys. This is such an incredibly powerful form of self-care.
Yeah. And if you're a mom with little kids, or even if they're not so little, do it with your kids. Like, because I just was imagining like a morning and you've got 4 kids, right, Christy?
Mhm.
4?
Yep.
Like, and they're like, sometimes it may seem like I can't even do the 5 minutes, or I got woken up by a crying child and then my day is off and running. But you know what? What if you taught your children this by doing it with them? By having them sit down, and if they can't write yet, then, just talking about it, or having them draw a picture of what they're grateful for, draw a picture of what they're celebrating, and then teaching them that's a way to self-regulate their own body. Like, let's just take it a step further, and pass that on. So I don't know, just throwing that out there. If it may be something that you enjoy doing with your kids, or it might be a way to get it into your schedule by doing it with your kids, and it certainly will benefit them.
Yes, yes, especially if you are like me. I have one child in particular who tends to be a little bit more glass half empty kind of a kid. He's a worrier and tends to view things in the more negative light. And so when he's really in a downward spiral, I will say, okay, I want you to sit down and write a list of 10 things that you're grateful for. And he used to complain, but now he's used to me doing this. And so he'll sit down and he'll write out his list and he'll bring it to me and stick it on the refrigerator and he'll say, I do feel better.
Aw, yeah. Yeah. Let's do that with our kids too, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So tomorrow, are we done talking about that? I didn't mean
Yep.
to say.
Yep. Nope. I think we're good.
So tomorrow is our last day, because then Valentine's Day is the next day after that. And so we wanted to end with a facial together, right? We're going to do a facial. If you want to participate, we're going to give you some ingredients that you can make sure that you have. And then we're going to do a facial together, and then while it sits, we'll do something else while the facial is, just sitting on our skin for 20 minutes or so. But who doesn't want a facial on a Sunday, right?
Right. So I will post an article in the group here with instructions, or maybe just I'll abbreviate it and type up some shorter instructions. And you guys can bring the ingredients. If you have things that you like to use for facials, if you have a mask that you like to use, bring that. We'll go through the steps. We'll put on a mask, and then we'll sit and do a meditation. I think we're going to do a self-love meditation
Yeah.
while the mask is on.
A lot of places now they come in a package and you just open it up and it's like shaped like a mask with your eyes cut out. There's like cucumber mint, or, whatever, anti-inflammatory, or this or that. You can just throw on one of those. I mean, it's not like we're saying it has to be this facial, but something to just, take care of your skin, take some time. So that'll be fun.
Yes, looking forward to it. Okay,
Awesome.
thank you so much for being here with us today, and we will see you in the morning.
See you tomorrow. Have a great day.